welcome to the Desi Ballers podcast. Hey Gopal, thanks so much for joining.
Cheers, man. Cheers, dude. This is looks like this could be our last episode of the season. I'm
No,
just
no,
saying.
no, guys, we have a lot of stuff planned for you out there. Don't listen to Gopal. Uh, it may be the last episode of the
Ha.
NBA game and game coverage because, well, as I told after game to stop overreacting, guys. Heat gave their best punch, and barely won in game two. It's evident, it's clear who's winning this. Like, not only do the Nuggets have the best player on the floor, they also have the player with the best temperament to be a champion, which is Jokic. So I don't know how many of you remember, but Kobe Bryant had a very nice, comment about Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and why he loved them so much. He said that they don't get too high, they don't get too low. They're stoic. And if there's anyone who I would say is more stoic than Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, it's Jokic.
Yeah.
You like nothing rattles him, dude. It's a sight to behold. Nothing. Three people on him, four people on him, everyone swiping on his face. He's like he operates like a robot. He is more sometimes I feel he's as robotic or more robotic than Kawhi Leonard. And it's crazy. He's clearly the best player. Not only did the Nuggets have the best player in the court, they also had the second best player in the court. The way it was going with Jamal Murray. Why is anyone surprised? I told this after game to stop overreacting. I told even in the Eklavya's NBA community, are you watching the same game I am? It was so evident who was gonna win this. Like there is see what the Nuggets showed all of us is there's levels to this,
Hmm.
and they are just at a different level compared to anyone else. They manhandled pretty much every team whom they faced, and including Lakers. And manhandling a LeBron-led team is not a joke. And like, if you really think that they manhandled the Lakers, you in what mind, in what world do you think the Miami Heat would have bothered the Nuggets? So, Gopal, your thoughts on the game, man?
Yeah, man. I see that by the only hope that we spoke about, like, is that Miami plays near perfect and Nuggets play below average. Only then this is a series. There were still moments where there could have been situations because obviously we didn't do the previous game, but if you look at the previous game also and now, uh for there were quarters which Miami won, right?
Mm-hmm,
It's just that the Nuggets seem to have their offense is so beautifully balanced in the
mm-hmm,
sense of they know when their big two guys need to take over, they know when their role players are
mm-hmm,
going to handle things, and their defense I feel is very very underrated.
mm-hmm,
So the only hope that the Miami had, I mean, two things. One is of course uh, that Joker gets rattled, that he sort of loses his cool, and then Nuggets make generally they make mistakes. Maybe their shots don't drop or anything of that sort, right? But none of that happened, right? I actually felt like some of the calls actually didn't go Jokic's way. Some of the fouls that were called on him late in the fourth, it could have got to him. But when he went to the bench, the Nuggets maintained a near 10-point lead for about 3.5, 4 minutes,
yeah,
right? So this is a very, very deep team. They're not making mistakes. They just needed that one loss in game two to just get back their focus. And so many stars, man. Who do you stop? Like this. That's what I think is. I think the biggest misconception now, and I'm also guilty towards that, is to think that the Nuggets is a two-man team. I think
right.
the way Aaron Gordon played today was
Oh wow,
phenomenal, dude. It was
yeah,
so efficient. I think he was
yeah,
what 12 of 16, or I don't know what the
dude,
numbers.
and he got buckets 1 feet from the rim, 2 feet from the rim. You
Yeah.
really think someone that strong, that athletic, will miss from there? Like,
See, that's the one thing, right? I feel like uh, all said and done, it was that one athletic, tall wing player. If you look at Miami,
right,
because they're sort of plugging in with Kevin Love. Now, Kevin Love is not that guy, right? I mean, he's a strong outside shooter, but he cannot. He's not an Aaron Gordon,
right.
right? Or they need like a clone of Jimmy Butler who's like 1 inch taller, perhaps, right? So that's a big question. I don't know if we should also already go ahead, but my point is now I think all the other teams in the league are now looking at how do we match up against the Denver Nuggets, because they're obviously not going anywhere, right?
They're young.
And
Most
they're
of the
young,
people are under contract.
exactly. So I think
And they had, if you ask me, one of the most dominant post runs where the only games they legit lost were complete outliers, which was Devin Booker and Kevin Durant just hitting 40 points each
yes,
in those 2 games.
dude, who would have thought that
Yeah,
if you look back, that would be the closest fought series?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's just crazy.
So I mean, it's amazing to watch. It's a sight to behold, to say the least, and it's very surprising what we've seen, what we've witnessed. But honestly, Gopal, you should be happy. This was your pick to win it
You know,
all very
that,
early in the season.
correct. No, no. So obviously, I mean, it's always nice to be proven right, but the point is, at the end, I'm always a basketball fan. Same with you, right? We want a finals to feel like a finals, right?
Dude,
I mean, wouldn't you want that? Like you said, because the Nuggets, they're showing there are levels to this. And credit to Miami, right? Miami is genuinely, I don't think they're playing badly at all. They're doing whatever they can.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Miami is giving it their all. Dude, Miami, like, look, if you look at the statistics, they are rebounding this game. So let's take an example. Total rebound, they actually out rebounded the Nuggets 37-34.
yeah.
They had same amount of assists. They had 46 points points in the paint to Denver's 48.
Hmm.
Like, you'd think that this is a close game if you look at the box score, and then when you scroll and look up, it's like it's a double digit win, and there's no fault in Miami. We have to understand this, Gopal, and this is for everyone in the audience. This Miami roster is not supposed to be here.
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
Miami roster has a lot of holes. Spo has done an amazing job covering those holes. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have done an amazing job making up for a lot of players. But as you get deeper in the playoffs, these holes start getting exposed.
Now, my question to you is now if they had their full roster, okay, which is what Oladipo and Tyler
Even
Hero.
then, Gopal, even then, it's not a strong enough roster. Why are people ignoring the fact that this Miami Heat team was an eighth seed? Holes get exposed in the playoffs. Honestly, their run has been great. It's been a phenomenal run. But in the first series, Giannis didn't play 3 games.
Hmm.
There's no way they'd lose to the New York Knicks. New York Knicks it's a new team, right? There's absolutely no way. And Boston Celtics, I think Boston fumbled that series.
Yeah, no doubt.
Everyone agrees Boston fumbled that series.
Yeah.
So honestly, you look at the 3 series which they've won to get here. Even against Boston, despite Boston fumbling the series, you say what you want, it went to 7 games.
Yeah.
So the point here is this: this is really something which the GM of the Heat, which is Pat Riley, the Godfather, has to look back and figure out that hey, this roster is maxed out. You can't
Yeah.
expect more out of this roster. How much will you run only on undrafted role players, man? Like, it sounds great, but the moment you hit a good team, you're screwed. Last year, the Miami Heat lost to despite being a 1 seed, lost to the Celtics in the conference finals. The roster construction was similar, but
Hmm.
last year, Celtics were actually a legit team. They played amazing defense
Hmm.
and they got beat. There's no way the Miami Heat team would have beat a Golden State Warriors. Like, the point here is this: if your goal as a Miami Heat GM is to win it all, and that's what you talk about your Heat culture, you have to realize that as the coach is doing his job as a GM, you have to give him a better roster now.
Okay, you have to give a better roster now, or are you saying that Jimmy Butler should have, or Coach Spo should have already had a better roster already?
Dude,
That is the
what
question.
the thing which I think about so much is last year when they lost, I
Hmm.
do not understand how they did not make a significant move. It is one of
Hmm.
the dumbest thing I've seen, because the Celtics were not getting younger.
Huh.
Everyone knew Nuggets fine, so you wouldn't count them, but everyone knew the Warriors are gonna be back. Everyone knew the Dallas Mavericks are gonna be a good team. I mean, my point is, if you look back 1 year before, I really think Pat Riley did a terrible job in the offseason. I like, why couldn't he have added players like Contavious Caldwell Pope when he was available? Why couldn't he have added, a player like, say, Aaron Gordon, who may have not, I mean, not Aaron Gordon, but a player like him, who's
Exactly.
big, strong, athletic, smart, intelligent. नो लाइक आई मीन इनको बस वो चाहिए कि भाई अनड्राफ्टेड प्लेयर के साथ जीत रहे, बस मस्ती पड़ी हुई है इनको अलग, मेरे को लगता है, और जीतेंगे कभी नहीं.
Yeah. No, no, but I mean, hindsight is, as they say, no. I mean, hindsight is always 2020, right? So my
No,
point is,
dude. So even after last year's loss to Celtics, you really think, just think back. At that time, didn't you feel that the Heat needed better players when they lost that series to Celtics?
there's no doubt. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
How can you run it back? You run it back when you've won it all, Gopal. You can't
Hmm.
run it back when you're contending, or when you gotta make moves, man. I mean, I find it very frustrating that sometimes GMs are too stuck up in their ass.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. I think this is something that they need to think about, no doubt, because I think every year also it's doing a disservice to a player like Jimmy Butler, right? Because
Dude, yeah, and I really wonder, sometimes that if Jimmy is doing this. So I watched Gilbert Arenas podcast. Okay,
yeah.
he's like, uh, he says the team is Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and what's his name and who he is, what's his name and what's his name and what's his name. Like,
Hmm.
he says three of the Miami Heat starters will
Hmm.
not be in the bench of 15 other NBA team rosters.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the fact that Jimmy has taken this roster to the finals twice already, like, I really want to see what they'll be able to do with a stacked roster. And I don't know if it is a financial issue or what, but you gotta give him a better roster. I really want to see Jimmy win it all,
How is it
man.
a financial issue, man? Like with all the role players and all, like I think, dude, Gabe Vincent was what 300 or something in his salary. I mean, the entire league or something, if I'm not mistaken. 300th, like in the salary list. So I'm just saying that that's Gabe Vincent. So I'm sure it's not a.
It's crazy.
uh,
I'm checking the salary. They overpaid Tyler Hero and they overpaid Duncan Robinson. But they could have got better players than Kevin Love and Kyle Lowry, man. I mean, I don't know. Like, many people will say that, oh, there's just not enough good players available. I disagree. I think there have been good players available. I mean, what do you think, Gopal?
I'm sure there are. Okay, and this is also the next question that I want to ask you is that I think that now the NBA and the NBA scouts need to seriously. I'm sure there are many incredible international players
I swear.
who are not even getting looked at, because how the NBA looks at international players is that you need to be a talented five, right? Basically, they're looking at unicorns. They're looking at these 7 footers from abroad, and the remaining, of course. I mean, they sort of come and go, right? They don't make a mark. But I think this is a bigger question that the NBA needs to answer: is that if you're not going to get players who are like from the US or Canada, seriously look at players like this. You have the Basketball Africa League now. You have, I mean, Europe. I'm sure there are like
Dude,
50.
I have one small thing to tell you, Gopal. For even for a second, don't think that for a lot of international players, NBA is the most lucrative league.
Exactly.
Especially EuroLeague actually pays more than the NBA for some positions. You've had some very good players who've gone back. If I don't know if you've heard of them, there's this player called Dario Saric who went back. Very
Yeah.
nice Sixers player. Then there's a Milwaukee Bucks player, I forget his name, who went back.
Hmm.
Because one is he's getting paid more, he's a lot more loved in the Euro. Why the hell? And I'm sure he's worried about the gun violence in the US.
Dude, I am actually no. So my point is that this also, we got some comments, by the way, Nikhil. When I got some DMs, you had passed on my number, and remember we got this comment in on this live itself,
Right.
saying that why aren't you guys not covering international and international leagues and
Yes.
stuff. I think there's an argument to be made. If you look at it, if you look at all the club teams in the world,
Hmm.
you actually think Miami Heat is the number 2 club team in the world? That is the question, right? So for me, so that is a deeper problem with the NBA, right?
Wow.
Because like you said, if a team like Miami Heat
Right.
makes it to the NBA finals,
Yes.
and you have Tatum claiming that I am one of the best players in the world, which has not aged very well, if you ask me already, then our question is this. Now this goes into the larger debate of, is this the best club finals for us to watch?
True.
I would rather have the Euro League champ play against the NBA champ. I would watch that. At least even the timings will be better for us.
I swear. Dude, I hope basketball has a UEFA type of Champions League. It'd be fun to watch. You know, right? The football
Yeah.
Champions League wherein they have.
Club World Championship or something it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they have club championship where, I mean, that's where, typically the impact of a player is judged. Like, one of the reasons why many people even now argue that Cristiano Ronaldo is better, if not as good as Messi, is because he has performed better in the club championships, right?
Hmm.
And it's really fun to watch. And I think basketball is trending to that, man. Like EuroLeague salaries are not as big, but they are pretty big. And obviously, with money, you'll attract super
No,
players.
no.
And
So yeah.
many people tell this, including Luka Doncic, who still plays in the NBA, that he prefers to watch the EuroLeague cups
Hmm.
because because of how much because of how well the game is. Like you don't have ticky tack fouls there. You don't have
You
stuff
can
like that.
take when the ball hits the rim, it becomes live,
Right,
right?
right,
So
yeah.
that makes it more fun. No, no.
I,
So Nikhil, I think this is also a perfect segue into a different chatter.
right.
I'm just doing a quick. It's not a diversion. It's actually a perfect segue. If you saw the chats also that are happening in the Indian basketball space, see, this is what makes covering Indian basketball really strange. Okay,
Okay.
I put out a post saying the India's top club team, the Chennai Heat,
Hmm.
okay, is taking part in the West Asia Super League.
Okay.
Then 1 week later, I'm like, India's top club team is not taking part in the West Asia Super League. Okay, but to answer your question, this exactly like you said, this structure is being built, right?
Right.
And at some point, the pathway is going to happen where you're going to have a legit elite club world championship, and I think that's also needed for the internationalization of basketball, right?
Basketball. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Makes
So
sense. I think it will happen. Look, one of the reasons why US, of course, the basketball sport was invented there, but also they figured out how to make money on basketball very soon, very quickly,
yeah.
because of which they were able to attract the top talent. That's about it, if you ask me.
I
That's
have,
the
I have an interesting question. Okay, there's also a bit of a diagram, but I'm just curious. You think because now IPL, they're doing some, there's going to be what? Major League Cricket in the US. Okay. So my point is they're going to start an IPL league in the US.
okay.
Okay. So then it is very interesting to see if cricket catches on in the US faster than.
No, man.
Dude,
Come on.
I'm just saying the way basketball in India is being governed and structured right now, I won't be surprised if cricket catches on in the US faster than basketball.
No, no. See, so I think US as a sports country has a lot of different leagues to compete with. India doesn't have any other league to compete with for the IPL. So US has, but NBA is smaller than the NFL. If you didn't know, significantly smaller. I watch some NFL games. They're amazing, lot of fun to watch. But and then MLB, the baseball league, is as big, if not bigger than the NBA. Like some of the contracts in the baseball league, if you see the numbers, you'll just go mad. They sign 10-year, 500, 700 million dollar contracts.
That's crazy.
So cricket may get some traction. I feel for them it may be a bit too slow uh,
Dude, if
compared
they
to
if
a
they if they if
basketball.
they are if they are fine with baseball,
Hmm.
T20 cricket is faster than baseball. That much is there.
I honestly feel with Messi moving to US,
Oh yeah, yeah.
football has more chances of catching up than cricket, because dude, in the end of the day, any audience wants to watch the best players. Period.
True, true.
So who you think Virat Kohli and these guys are going to go to the US? I don't think so.
If they get, maybe Virat Kohli will go when he's like 40.
Yeah, that's possible.
No,
That's
I
possible.
don't think we should discount that. Although obviously that's not the point of our conversation today. But I think these are all trends, right? Which are happening, which we see happening, right? A 45-year-old Virat, or even
Right.
Sachin can go play right now. He I mean, he can play T20, dude. What is the big deal? उसमें क्या है?
So let's talk about another point here. Coming back to the NBA finals. Uh, let's talk about roster construction, because
Hmm.
honestly, when you break it down, the reason why Heat lost is not because of the players, not because of the coach, because of roster construction. So Gopal, let's look at the Denver Nuggets roster construction, how they got to where they are. And this
Hmm.
is a great sign for the league as well, that Denver Nuggets roster construction happened over the course of 5, 6, 7 years.
Hmm.
A lot of their players have been together for quite some time, especially Jamal Murray and Jokic.
Wait,
Uh,
who else then? Apart from those two, who else has been together for 7 8 years?
so I
That's
think MPJ has been there since he was
MPJ.
drafted.
Hmm.
I also think Christian Brown was drafted, but I mean he's just a rookie, but he was still drafted. Like the reason why I'm bringing this up is Nuggets is considered Denver is considered a small market,
Yeah.
and Nuggets basically showed that a small market team can win, similar to how Giannis won a couple of years back. And why I bring this up is I think basketball now is moving away from super talented super teams to intelligent roster construction in the NBA.
I hope you're right, man. I want you to be right because I think definitely you don't see the like remember like 10 years ago it's that big three. It was always like everyone was just doing the big three stuff. Now it's more around you have like one superstar and then largely you have superstars but within their roles. Like
Exactly.
role playing superstars as you
Right.
want to call it. So yeah, I think I would love that. I would love it if what you're saying is correct. But I think bad habits die slowly. I think there is always a tendency to, just plug in a KD into any roster and then think that they're going to win, right?
I have another thing to point here, because you bring up KD. Guys, roster construction matters. The best proof of this is on paper, the Brooklyn Nets couple of years back looked as one of the best team of all time with KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. But
Hmm.
it didn't work. But then the same KD when he's on Warriors, because of the roster construction,
Yeah.
that's the greatest team of all time.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. The difference is that, right? You can just be a second round exist versus a greatest team of all time if you understand roster construction.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's very, very important to spend a lot of time thinking about roster construction for any GM. I mean, what do you think, Gopal?
Yeah. You know what? I would love it if we can actually get, an executive, a front office executive who has constructed rosters. I'll figure this out. But we should
Sure.
actually do like a proper roster breakdown in terms of all the, salary cap permutation combinations. I was watching Moneyball again, last week, and it's actually fascinating. Even from a sports business perspective, Nikhil, we've spoken about this, right? To sort of also get into that business, put on our thinking Chanakya caps, right? Chatur caps. So I think that would be great if we can do that, because I think that's also something that India as a sports country is starting to think about. Right? Even if you look
Right.
at all the chatter around IPL,
Hmm.
it's not yet even they're not even talking about trades, highest paid players.
Right.
right? All these things, all this entire ecosystem, I feel, is going to evolve, and I think even the audience in India is going to mature, and it'll be
Right.
great if we can actually learn from the NBA and their best and worst practices. I just think that'll be a cool thing to do. So, but guys, who are tuned in, if you think that's something we should do, like a special one, which we can also do on LinkedIn, Nikhil,
Sure. Please
right?
comment below.
Please comment below, and you can actually tell us which team that you want a breakdown of.
So, by the way, for the off season, what we are planning to do, I'm still structuring this, but basically, we'll be looking at all teams, all 30 NBA
Yeah.
teams, and trying to tell what they should be trying to do as they, try to go forward and try to get a winning season or whatever it is. Because I personally find, I'll be honest with you, I've told this to you before, unless it's the Warriors in the finals, I personally find the off season a lot more entertaining than this regular season or the playoffs.
No,
Like NBA off
yeah.
seasons are amazing, like amazing sight to behold.
No, I'm so glad you said that, because that is only something that a like a hardcore, legit NBA fan would say, right? And this also, like, even if you look at it, I'm sure it's the same, right? The casual fans always start watching from the playoffs onwards, and then the non NBA fans watch the finals, right?
Right.
That's how it works. And I think this also is going to be huge for the Indian community to have this level of breakdown. I don't think this has ever happened before, and we're seeing a lot of this conversation also on our AK NBA group, right? A lot of the people are
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about who
So
should come, who should go, what is it.
Ek NBA group has been great, great. I'm absolutely loving it. The kind of ideas and the kind of stuff, they need to kick this guy out, they need to bring this guy back in. I mean, it's been superb to watch.
Yeah.
Uh, One more thing, so Gopal, I want to know if you want to do a segment on what's going on in the Indian basketball community in WhatsApp.
But what is going on, bro? I mean, we already.
So,
You ask me, you tell me what we should talk about in the interview. 'Cause I think
so
you are.
I am just guys. So to everyone who's out here, I am someone who has no idea about the Indian basketball community. I got some DMs, Gopal, asking me about what's happening and this and that, and I told him, guys, please talk to Gopal. मेरे को नहीं पता ये सब. The reason I'm saying this is I watch basketball. For me, basketball has been NBA and NBA 2K.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So a lot of stuff which you're talking about, BFI, and then I mean some tournaments, and all of this is going right on top of my head. I'm not understanding any of this.
Okay.
And there's so many messages. And what was surprising to me was the Indian basketball community had more messages than the NBA community. And I was like, "Ye chal kya raha hai yaar?" I thought NBA had more following, but I'm just curious, like what's going on, and what I can clearly tell
Hmm.
the sentiment of the messages is that of serious amount of frustration. So,
Oh yeah.
what are all of these frustrations? I'm not able to understand. Gopal, can you just summarize this for me and any other viewer?
Okay. So let's just talk about the 3-4 FAQs that we got around Indian basketball in the last few days. I'm not even saying like few weeks. So one is, of course, what we spoke about: clarity on what is the next event, right? Just imagine, Nikhil, like a whole country has come to a standstill basketball wise. That's ridiculous, right? There's no
No, I'm
clarity.
not understanding. I mean, are they not private tournaments going on? What are you saying, man?
Private, yes. So yeah, shout out to Rajasthan Basketball League. By the way, we got them on as a guest, right, on our show, and they
Yes.
did the date announcement. So the Rajasthan Basketball League is starting next week. So there are these state level uh, events and stuff that's happening. But my point, Nikhil, is that for a country like India, just imagine in cricket, ki Indian team kheli na rahi. That's just insane, dude. I'm just saying. So my point is, obviously, when you have a state level league, there are people within the state who will follow it. But you want to see your country play, right? Especially in a country like India, which does not have a league. So we had this situation where an Indian team was supposed to play, like this club championship is not playing. Then we're also getting queries now. It's a very interesting time, Nikhil. By the way, NBA Academy India tryouts usually happen at this time, so we're getting a lot of DMs. Kids want to know, how can I prepare myself best for the NBA Academy tryout? So we put out this like a tutorial and stuff. It's actually quite fascinating, Nikhil. Just imagine, this also comes into roster construction. We're talking about that, right? NBA Academy has around 24 players, okay? Around 24 in Delhi. Now every year they have tryouts, right? So if they already have guys in their existing batch, say who are centers or who are guards, then the kind of players that they're going to draft, from the tryouts, have to be complementary players,
Correct.
right? So there's all this conversation around it, like players just want opportunities to play, and obviously NBA Academy presents to them a very like literally like the lowest cost option, because it's full scholarship. By the way, NBA Academy does not charge any of its players, so top talents are looking to go and get there, and that's like the route to hopefully playing in colleges abroad. So, and then of course, then the other stuff is the whole BFI election matter, which I believe is now going to be heard in the Supreme Court next week, right? So it's literally gone right up to the Supreme Court. And also another thing we spoke about, the U16 girls championship, remember about
Yeah, right, right. Couple of weeks
so
back.
so today is the deadline to send the Indian team to that, the roster, I mean, right? So there is all that sort of question mark whether the roster will be accepted by FIBA, because it's the court appointed guy who has sent a roster, not an elected body. So it just really confusing and messed up, and that's usually what unfortunately the conversations are around Indian basketball. So what you're seeing there is the frustration, like you said. All this boils down to frustration. What am I supposed to do? The other one, Nikhil, is called it's called INBL, okay, Indian National Basketball League. This is the latest round of chatter, right? There is actually a call to boycott it from one section, saying that this INBL has a contract with the Basketball Federation of India, and since there is no Basketball Federation of India, how can they announce their new season, right?
And there was also some conversation about some random scams of some university and all. I'm not understanding, dude. What the hell is going
Yeah, so
on?
the scam about university, I won't
Of
take the
course, we
name.
can't have the name. There's no
But
validity.
I was literally finding out about that now. Is that apparently there was a university championship which hired officials,
Okay.
and 3 months on, those officials have not yet been paid.
Oh God.
And Nikhil, they earn like 1,000 rupees a day, man. So if you're skimping on that, and this university is a private university with a lot of funding. Okay, so my point is, why would you, if it is true, obviously I have not looked into it, but if it's true, like
Guys, I
why?
mean, I forget about the university and all. In general, I've seen Indians are terrible payment masters. If you're doing something, just take your payment in advance, or else don't do the project. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, I tell this to you also, Gopal.
Yeah.
One of by the way, if you all didn't know, our
I don't like where the
founder,
conversation is
chief
going.
editor
I don't
here.
like.
No, I have to tell this. I have to tell this. Our founder, chief editor, right here, Mr. Gopal, who is running Eklavya's, loves to do work for free. I don't know why.
I,
And does not want to ask for sponsorships, does not want to ask for capital. In fact, Gopal, screw everyone else. I'll blame you that Indian basketball doesn't have money.
if
मीडिया अगर पैसा नहीं कमा रहा है बास्केटबॉल में तो और कौन कमाएगा मेरे को बोल.
See, man, like like Pat Riley needs to accept that roster reconstruction necessary. Even I realized it, which is why you are like the elite whatever partnership, right? It's your job as
So
a Marwari brain to monetize it. So it's on you, bro.
so
Now
for
you.
this for this we have some very interesting announcements coming up.
Okay.
We
Wait, before you
finally
before you make the announcement, please know next entire week, Nikhil, I'm not here. Guys, I'll be in Rajasthan covering the Rajasthan Basketball League. So whatever announcement you're making, Nikhil, don't say it's next week. I'm telling you now.
right. So in the coming few days, we will be launching our own Eklavya's basketball merchandise store.
Ooh.
So the infrastructure has been set up. We're just working on the payment integrations, and we're working on the shipping partners and all of that, so that you get merch quickly.
Hey, Nikhil, this I have a surprise for you. Okay, you
Okay.
can keep going on with explain your stuff. I'm just going to come back, but you go ahead.
Sure. So, guys, we'll be launching the Eklavya's basketball merchandise store with T-shirts, cups, phone cases, all tuned to Indian basketball, to NBA, to Desi ballers. So, if you have any recommendations for T-shirt ideas and all, send them to Gopal or me. We'll keep sharing them, keep adding them, and keep sharing the links with you. I think we've got very high quality t-shirts and shirts. Oh wow, Gopal has something to show here. That's awesome, man.
Okay, that's one. That's one. I have another one. So these are concept tees, Nikhil. I want to tell you. I
Okay,
literally got one of these printed
okay.
and it got delivered to me yesterday. Like this is
Oh,
literally
okay.
one of one. So yeah,
Was it from our from our own t-shirt provider or from someone else?
This is, I mean, I won't reveal the name, but yeah, I just
Yeah.
got it done online. Just, and this
Okay.
is the other one.
So so once again, guys, I'll highlight Gopal.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you can see it.
Yes. Show the other one also.
Oh yeah, sure.
So guys, we're just finalizing on the shipping and payments. We will be sending the links to everyone. So please be prepared for that. But some really cool t-shirts, some really cool products. We have some phone cases upcoming. We have some cups upcoming, all around Indian basketball, around NBA, and all of that. So Gopal, thanks so much for agreeing to do a merch store.
I've been wanting to do it for a while, dude. I didn't have good vendors.
And I'll we'll be looking forward to sharing the products which we come up with all of you. So thank you so much. But guys, to everyone who is in the Indian basketball community, I can't say I feel for you because I don't.
That's so terrible.
Because I just feel that if you, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel you're just fighting a losing battle, and that's the case for any other
What
sports
a
league.
pep talk, dude. What a pep talk. Then
That's
legendary. This is locker room. Like
that,
putting
that's
coach
that's
Polstra to shame. Michael Malone will be like, "Ye kya hai
that's
ye?"
you're fighting a losing battle. Uh, I don't know, like that's a fight which Gopal will fight, but I don't really. I mean, TK, like ये चलते रहता है. I'd rather enjoy watching basketball on the NBA and hope and pray that sometimes we're going to see some Indian players there. Although I don't see it
be,
happening, depending
be
on
be
everything I'm hearing from you, Gopal.
be the wish. What be the change you need to see? So that's
So
the way.
I don't know, man. I mean, look, one of the reasons I keep telling you that there's no point. I don't really think that a lot of these things are gonna change, and I don't. I the only way these things are gonna change, Gopal, and unfortunately, you don't want an answer like this, but that's the reality. Is when the old guard disappears,
So I'll tell you now the issue. You spoke about old guard, dude. Old guard, especially in many of our national sports federations,
right?
they don't disappear, bro. They have like this anti-aging pill. They're going to remain presidents and secretaries of the national sports federation for 200 years, right? So my this is I say this on a lighter note, but and this we also got this comment, right, on our I think Indian basketball group. Or
Time to infiltrate PFI. There was
oh
a
no,
comment.
the infiltrate one was crazy. That's like next level like stuff. No, the other one about uh, भाई बता दो कहाँ पे प्रोटेस्ट करना है. So
भाई कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला यार. Like आपको क्या लगता है? मैं see there's this very nice book, Gopal. I recommend you read it. I will send it to you. It's called The Rules for Rulers.
this
Okay,
is, hmm.
so the rules for rulers, what it says is basically when you're put in positions, your goal as a ruler is to do everything you can to stay in that position. Okay.
Hmm.
For example, in a democracy, if you have become the prime minister, in this case, Narendra Modi, why does he keep campaigning? Because one of his job descriptions is to stay in power. He
Hmm.
has to stay in power. If not, he is not a ruler, right? So he will do everything he can and will to stay in power. That's just the game. It's not what he is doing is immoral or this or that. He is doing what he's supposed to do. And the way he stays in power is to keep the people who are reporting to him, people who are directly underneath him, like the right hand man, the left hand man, like people right underneath him or her, them happy. So in
Hmm.
this case, if you take India as a whole, you have Modi ji, who's our honorable prime minister, but you also have his right and left hand man. So you could say someone like an Amit Shah and whoever it is, who are when you really and then the role of that guy, who is like the second tier. His role also is to stay in power. So he has to keep Modi ji happy and he has to keep his two people underneath happy.
Hmm.
Got what I'm trying to say?
I got what
So
you're trying to say.
this is happening across all sports, and you people think it's not happening in cricket. You're absolutely wrong. It's happening in cricket as well. It's just that it is just the rules of rulers coming in action. The difference is cricket has a lot more visibility because of which they can't screw around. Basketball, the people don't really care. Consumers don't really care, honestly.
Exactly.
So the problem is that आप आंदोलन जाके करोगे कुछ नहीं उखाड़ पाओगे यार.
Yeah,
Like,
we are seeing also for example, it has taken Olympic gold medal winning wrestlers
हाँ
6 months,
हाँ हाँ,
and even then we have you know witnesses turning hostile, statements being withdrawn,
exactly.
right? So but anyway, I still think, though, I mean, this is separate. There when there's business is business, and policy reform is, because just to answer your question, it took a long time even for this rule to come into force, Nikhil, that our national sports federations, you can only hold office for a maximum period of 3 terms if you're the president, or 2 terms, right? So if those people had thought, ki bhai, what's the point of fighting this, then it would, just imagine, situation would be even more worse. Like, for example, Wrestling Federation of India, the
Right.
president
Would
has
be
to resign. He has to anyway resign because his terms are over,
right.
right? So I'm just saying this also needs
Yeah.
to
So
percolate.
in such scenarios, I'll typically tell you what happens, and you don't have to be a look. I'm not saying there's you can just completely ignore all of this. So this
Yeah.
is for everyone in the Indian Basketball League as well.
Indian Basketball League to league hi hai nahi na.
Sorry.
So that
I
is the
mean
main problem.
Indian basketball community and across
I
all
know, I know, I know, I
sports,
know.
across all sports.
Yeah.
Uh, Even if, for example, so this is how I see a lot of things playing out. Okay, across sports league, and this is not me trying to be smart or anything like that. This is literally a most logical conclusion of what happens in multiple sports league. This with all of what's going on. First thing what happens is, even if this particular president or secretary or whoever they are, they have to retire, or they have to give up the post, because their goal as a ruler, the rules for rulers is they have to somehow stay in power. They will somehow figure out how to place a puppet there. Okay,
Correct.
that's what is typically going to happen. Your goal, if you want to really fight this, is to become one of these rulers.
Okay,
You have to
guys, Nikhil is going to contest Baswangudi neighborhood. He's going to create the Baswangudi neighborhood basketball association.
no, my I don't really care about
ये कॉप आउट, ये कॉप आउट हो
BFI,
गया
bro.
भाई, ये
Come
तो
on.
कॉप आउट हो गया, ये इतना
Find
सारा.
someone who cares. Find someone who cares enough and explain to him the rules of the game. That, boss, this is how the game is played. Are you up for it?
ये तो भाई, ये तो आर्मचेयर एडवाइस हो गया ना, ये तो लिटरली, ये तो भाई, ये फाइंड
Bro,
समवन,
if I want to
फाइंड समवन एल्स
if
टू
I
व्हाट.
want to contest, I'd rather contest in the normal political election rather than these random sports leagues. I don't really care.
Dude, you know what, on the joke is that normally if you can't win legit elections, then you end up becoming a sports federation head.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
not true, of course, because Bish Bhushan is a whatever 5-6 time MP, so
Huh.
it's not always the case. But anyway, I think your point is well noted. And guys, whoever is listening, please go. It's a legit point, right? Like, I think you need to, in your own tournament, in your own event that you take
Exactly.
part, organize, try to do it as transparently as possible, as professionally as possible. Try
Yes.
to make it profitable, because profit is not a bad word. It's about efficiency, right? It helps you scale, right? So even if you make like 50,000 rupees more, you can pump it back into, say, giving a bigger cash prize to the teams, right? So even if you don't care about money, at least try to create value.
No,
And
no.
then
One thing. If you're one of those people who wants to do, I told this to Rajasthan Basketball League folks also,
Ah,
guys, if you want to seriously create an impact, and one of the things which has cut through, by the way, Gopal, in a lot of countries, one of the things which has cut through this rules for rulers kind of thing in a lot of countries and actually caused disruption is when people figured out how to make money, where the power was no longer relevant.
exactly.
You have to figure out how to make money. Like, for God's sake, stop thinking like NGOs and NPOs. They are one of the worst run organizations. I hate them.
Nikhil, I mean, I was thinking about this. I think a lot of this comes from, honestly, the modern Olympic movement, okay, which started around 1900.
Okay.
There was this whole thing of, it's an amateur thing. Even you look at NBA also, right? They weren't allowing NBA players to play in the Olympics till
Right.
1992.
Right.
So I think this mindset of if it is amateur, it means no one, even NCAA, it took so long for NCAA players to earn money now,
Right.
right? So I think that is a shift that needs to happen. That, like you keep saying, your pet phrase, I think, is that we are in a capitalist society, right? So there's a
Right.
fact. So by accept it, and create systems that feed back in a positive way, and
Exactly.
everyone's happy, right? It's a win-win. It's not
And
like my Miami Heat, which is going to
and
lose. So sorry, act.
and and you got to figure out how to make money, Gopal. And honestly, that's one of the best ways to cut through this rules for rulers
I
business,
agree.
where power is irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. And the second way is you have to understand that your competition, for organizers, for everyone out there, your competition is not BFI and all of that. Your competition is bloody Netflix and YouTube.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I think you know what, I think the Indian basketball community, and I also include myself in that, we sort of get caught up in our own little island of, so things, problems appear larger than they are, right? So I think even people within the basketball community needs to just take a step back and realize that this is a very, very small part of the puzzle, right? Doing things under the
exactly.
federation or under the state associations, it's literally like 2%. There's so much that can be done outside of it.
So anyway, guys, so a lot of interesting stuff going on in Eklavya's. We'll be pushing them out soon. I have been very happy to see the kind of engagement you're getting on your articles, Gopal. It's been a sight to behold. I had no idea that you had such a large following. So
No,
congrats on
it's,
that.
it's cool. Also, guys who are not familiar, what we're doing is we mean very genuine. We're talking about communities. We are talking about hyper local and hyper focused. Right?
Yes.
These for me, Nikhil, are like two sort of guiding lights as far as I think the future of content or digital content comes in. Is that hyper, when you say hyper focused? So
Mhm.
we are saying we have a community just for NBA chatter, right?
Correct.
So that's what we mean by hyper focus. And obviously it's Indian guys commenting, or Indian, we hope also, by the way, that there are more girls also. That's one thing that we do need to address. It's all a bunch of dudes talking. It's like very locker room talk going on. But yeah, the point is, it comes from an Indian lens, right? All the chatter, imagine being able to talk about the NBA in Hindi, right? I just think it's very cool, because how you think, that's how you should speak, right? So that's what the
Right.
community is about. We also have guys communities for every city, right? So in fact, just yesterday, someone was asking, "Bhai, Delhi NCR mein kya ho raha hai?" Right? And I told the guy, we have another WhatsApp community there, and
Right.
immediately we got messages there saying that there is a School Games Federation of India event happening. What are the results? Right? So
Wow.
guys, you can join Delhi NCR, Bangalore, then I
Haryana.
think Haryana. Then we also have like Telugu for the larger Andhra Pradesh, Telangana
Right.
group. So we have a whole bunch of. There's one for Pune, because I think Pune is like very Bangalore-ish in a way in terms of how it approaches. So yeah, we're developing communities. We'll be doing it for pretty much every state or every region. So guys, you can
And
find people.
an important thing, we will be creating region specific merch as well.
Region specific merch, and my vision honestly is that the conversation itself happens in Kannada or in Bengali,
Right.
right? Like I think that's how you really take a sport, you make it Indian, right? Because the fact is, Nikhil, you and I, we still constitute 10%
Right.
of Indian population that
Right.
speaks in
Right. Right.
English, that thinks in English,
Right.
right? I think just imagine how the whole scene will explode if you have Bengali guys going at it, Hindi guys going at it, and then
I
we won't
know,
even understand what they're talking about. I
right?
would love it. That's how the sport grows.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's in the pipeline, on the way. And that, guys, that's all for today's show. I
I do
hope you
have a
got my
last.
message. Oh yeah, you have something to say.
We
Yeah, go
should
ahead.
we do need to predict game. Wait, don't tell me Nuggets are very. I dude, I want Jimmy to hit 50, dude. I want a 50 piece. But
Dude,
for him to get a 50 piece, he has to hit outside shots, because there's no way he's going to score in the paint. That's the problem.
dude, it's game over, dude. Like the game was over in game 3. The series was over in game 3.
think like a fan ना, इतना मत ये एनालिस्ट का ये हेडफोन हटाओ, ठीक है? थोड़ा मतलब, एज अ फैन, वुड यू नॉट लव अ 50 पीस बाय जिमी बटलर?
One small thing to share, guys. Gopal's posts and my posts. I'm primarily Gopal's posts because, of course, he's the pro journalist here. Have got 20,000 views over the last 22 days. So that's been great to see. So thank you all so much for watching. It was great having you all here. We'll catch you guys after Nuggets host the Larry O'Brien Trophy. See you all.
Okay, bye guys.